Hey everyone, welcome back to On Purpose, the best place in the world to learn, listen, and grow every single week. Thanks to each and every one of you that tune in, that download the episodes, and that connect. And you know that my promise to you is to try and find guests that are going to help you find awakening, find growth, learn new techniques, learn new skills, and even open your minds up to a new way of living. And today's guest is going to do just that. He's a very, very dear friend, someone I've had so many great offline conversations with him that I've been probing him to say, let's record this and share it with the world. So today's guest is none other than Kunal Nayyar, best known for his incredible work as Rajesh on television's #1 longest running multi-camera comedy, The Big Bang Theory. The series has been nominated for multiple Emmy, Golden Globe, SAG Critic Choice Awards, and won the People's Choice Award for favorite network TV comedy 3 years in a row. In 2015, Kunal made his New York theater debut in The Spoils. He starred in the off-Broadway play alongside Jesse Eisenberg, who also wrote the play. Today, I'm excited to talk about his career as an actor and also his philosophy on life. Kunal, thank you for doing this, man.
It's a rousing introduction. Wow. Thank you.
It's all honest. It's all true. And the best thing about this is Kunal's had one of the busiest weeks. He's flying off to London tonight, and he still found time to do this. You're a real friend, Kunal.
No, thank you. I'm so glad. Thanks for having me. I'm a huge fan of everything that you're doing. So anything I can do to be a part of it.
Thank you, man. And the way we met is so fun because I remember there were just so many random touch points. So we have a lot of mutual friends who'd mentioned you to me and said, "Oh, you two would really get along. You could talk for hours." And then the crazy thing is, I was at a Lakers game with my wife, and she sees you. She's like, "Oh, look, that's Kunal from Big Bang Theory." And you were far away, so we didn't get to say hello that day. And then literally the week after, we were talking.
Yeah.
And it was like this beautiful series of events where you're just like, the universe is trying to bring you closer to someone. That's how I felt anyway.
No, absolutely. I call it the 6 degrees of separation from being Indian. That's what happens.
That's what it is. That's what it is. But let's start with the Indian question because I know you have a passion for this. When's the last time you played cricket?
This time I was home. After Big Bang, I've been home 4 times since May. This time I was home, we bought a cricket bat. And in the driveway, my cousin and I were playing. And it was such a wonderful feeling because it brings back all the memories. I watch cricket incessantly too. So I'm a huge fan.
Yeah.
I know you're a Premier League guy.
Yeah, I'm a Premier League guy. Yeah, I'm a Premier League guy. But no, it's always fascinating to hear about people's interest. And when you first moved to the US, you worked as a university housekeeper.
Yeah, I was in the housekeeping department. I didn't really know what I was getting myself into, but the minimum wage in Oregon was slightly higher than most of the states. So it was a nice amount of money for me. And I just did it. I didn't think too much about it. It wasn't such a big deal to me. So I did anything that was required of me.
Tell me some of the things that you had to do. Any fun stories, Eddie?
I mean, cleaning out, the dormitories is not the big trash compactor and you pull it out. And the things you see people throw away, it's quite disgusting.
Especially in a university, that's like the worst time.
And also cleaning out professors who had passed away, cleaning out their offices. That was a very interesting experience. But the most fun I ever had was on I think Monday afternoons, we had to wash the church windows and I would get to use the power washer. And that was like, for me, the most incredible experience ever. I was like Arnold Schwarzenegger, like shooting down, and it was fun. I got fired, unfortunately, because, I didn't get fired, but I got released because I forgot to put the little lorries that we drive in park. And it rolled off the quad into the garden where all the students were like studying and stuff.
Did anyone get hurt?
No one got hurt, thank God. And then my boss, who's this guy named Greg, I'll never forget, he had this tongue like a snake and he drove like old vintage cars. He was the coolest guy I ever knew. He took the fall for me. It was really sweet.
Wow.
Yeah, he was the sweetest guy ever.
Why did he do that?
He's just a nice guy and he liked me.
Are you still in touch with him?
No.
Okay, we have to get this to him.
Yeah, exactly.
Greg, if you're watching this, somehow I want to get this video to you because this is special. You help Kunal not have like a criminal record, or I don't know what would have come with that. But no, that's amazing. And the reason why I want to go back to the beginning and everything for you is because obviously you grew up in Delhi, right? And what was life like growing up in Delhi for you personally? Like, what were the experiences there that you feel formed who you are today? Or maybe parts of you that you wanted to progress and change as well?
Yeah, that's a great question. The beauty of growing up in India for me was the familial, the idea of family is beyond just four people or five people. You don't grow up just with your parents. You grow up with your cousins. You grow up with your cousins' parents, aunts, uncles, friends' parents. The community around you is so large. Every night, someone is over at the house eating with you, or at 8 p.m. someone will knock on the door. Oh, they're coming. Come on, what do you got in the fridge? You eat. So it teaches you that it really you feel so full. You feel so emotionally full, which is a lovely thing. And also not just socially, but also grief. When people die, everyone shows up, you know. So you get to experience death with people. We were never shielded away from death at a young age. Anyone passed away, you went to the home, the first thing, whatever you were doing, even if you're in school, you just leave school and you show up to people's homes and there's a dead body there. And you experience that firsthand and how a community is built around that. And I miss that. Even to this day, living in America for almost 20 years, I miss that, sometimes if I want to have a meal with someone, it takes 2 weeks to schedule it. And I understand everyone's busy, but I miss that sort of everyone on top of each other all the time kind of love, because it's very familiar to me.
Yeah, absolutely. No, I know I can relate to that in a smaller way, growing up in London, but in an Indian background as well. Family's definitely a bigger part of that. And since we moved to the US, which has only been 3.5 years, but it's the same. But we're trying to build our little family
Yes, of course.
with friends. And so I think we have to somehow bring it over here for sure. But tell me about that. That's really interesting what you said there, because I think it's such a powerful point that's often missed, that in that Eastern society, you're so used to seeing death. Which is a really powerful point you made. What was it about that you feel was powerful for you personally? Like, what about that has left such a lasting impression? When I ask, what did you learn from India? That's one of the first things you remember.
I don't think that you don't think about it at the time. You just do it. It's not like, oh, this is something that I have to do, or it just becomes part of your life. So you're not sitting there saying, this is so profound, there's a dead body in front of me. No, it's not like that. It's just the simplicity of the way the culture works. You just show up in times of need. And it's what I find sometimes in society right now, what's happening is we're really sterilizing all experiences in life. You shake someone's hand, you got to use antibacterial soap. If someone coughs, you look at them like they're sick. This kind of a thing is really taking away the humanity from us, as it is in the internet and social media, and all these things are wonderful tools, but it also is sometimes taking away the humanity from us. And I think now when I look back, I think the profound impact it had on me, that it was messy and it was full and it wasn't sterile and empty. And I think that's why now when I look back, it feels profound. But at the moment, you're just like, wow, that woman is wailing way too loud. And I gotta get to the badminton court at 4 p.m. I have to be here. Like, you're just a child. You're not so self-aware at the time,
Yeah.
It just becomes part of your life.
Today, I'm going to share with you the most useful app on my phone. Before I do that, do you remember reading a book and connecting with a message that helped change your thinking? That's the beauty of reading and learning. I know that in today's digital age, it's so easy to be distracted and overwhelmed with everyone's feed at the cost of neglecting your priorities. If you love books, pursuing new ideas and thoughts, but feel you don't have time, this app will sort all of that. I highly recommend the Blinkist app. Blinkist is the only app that takes the best key takeaways, the need-to-know information from thousands of nonfiction books, and condenses it into 15 minutes so you can read or listen. And autobiographies, which I love, are usually dense. So before I start reading one, I use Blinkist. I enjoy using Blinkist on my phone, on the elevator, or on my iPad at home. The minimal interface makes it easy on my eyes, and with no distractions, I can fully focus. I've just reread The Virgin Way by Richard Branson, and if you're interested in any way in business, you will absolutely love it. Right now, Blinkist has a special offer just for our audience. Go to Blinkist.com/J, try it free for 7 days, and save 25% off your new subscription. That's Blinkist, spelled BLINKIST.com, and start your 7-day free trial and save 25%. It's not unlikely for health experts to say it's okay to eat a list of foods and the following year they change their mind. It's difficult to know what protocol to follow when it comes to getting all your vital nutrients to keep you at 100%. And there's no perfect diet. But I do believe there is a perfect supplement, and that is Athletic Greens. It's the only supplement I take on the daily and actually feel better within minutes of having it. If you had to only get one supplement in during your day, Athletic Greens is a no-brainer. If you want to boost your energy, strengthen your immune system, or support gut health, this is for you. With 75 vitamins, vegan-friendly minerals, and whole food source ingredients, plus the antioxidant equivalent of 12 servings of fruit and veg, I highly doubt you'd find more comprehensive nutrition. Many of the world's top performers, entrepreneurs, athletes, and Olympians trust this brand. The packaging is neat and simple, and I love the travel packs, which allow me to take one right after my morning workout and when I'm on the move. You'll feel great mentally and physically the whole day after taking it. Athletic Greens makes this easy. I actually look forward to taking it every morning, and it doesn't hurt that it actually tastes great. Whether you're an athlete pushing for better performance or just wanting to make sure you're not deficient in nutrients, Athletic Greens takes the guesswork out of everyday good health. Why not just try it? Jump over to athleticgreens.com/purpose and get your special holiday offer today. 20 free travel packs valued at $79 with your first purchase. That's athleticgreens.com/purpose. Yeah, and I think that's a really good point. I think most of our lives are processed in hindsight.
Always.
Like most experiences are more powerful when we look back on them and we reflect. And that's why if we don't look back and reflect, we often miss out.
Yes.
Because it's quite hard, especially as a kid, to appreciate or introspect or reflect on any present moment that you're in. Like you're saying, you want to run to the badminton court or...
Yeah, well, I think also when you're younger, the attachments or the identifications to the things around you aren't so attached yet. Those things, you predominantly get attached to those kinds of things later on in your life when you become really, your idea of yourself is very strong. So that's when you become very self-aware. But when you're young, that's the way you should be, actually. You should not be attached to anything, and you should go with whatever the universe is giving you.
Yeah. And you always wanted to be an actor? That was always the plan?
I was always a ham. That's what it was. I was always just doing anything to be in front of the audience. No, I don't know. I think when I was probably 19, I was in college. I really enjoyed acting. I really enjoyed, there was something about being an actor is, you're trying to find the truth in the moment. That's why people get addicted to acting, in my opinion, is because it really forces you to dive within and find the truth in a moment. And once you experience truth or you touch truth for the first time, it's an experience that, I don't know, it's very addicting. You want to find it all the time. And you can't find it all the time. There are takes when you are not present and there are takes when you are present. But once you experience it, once you truly are saying these words that you've learned, they're coming out of your mouth, but they're coming out of your mouth like the first time. And this person who's been rehearsing with you for a few months is saying these words, and they're coming out of their mouth. You know what's going to come, but it's like it's happening for the first time. That is probably how you would define a spiritual awakening almost, that's what happens, because you can recreate that on stage sometimes. And that's what happened to me on stage. And I was like, oh, this is it. I have to have this in my life. And that was it for me.
Yeah. And so whenever you're acting, you're always trying to find that truth, find that moment where you can experience this again.
You're always just trying to find the moment where you're absolutely present. And you're speaking and you're listening, like this.
What a good skill. What an amazing skill for everything else in life.
Well, that's the hard thing about being an actor, though, too, is that you have this incredible, intense experience, and then you have to go back to your life. You finish acting on set, and then you show back up at work. Show back at home, and how do you balance the two?
Tell me about that first experience of having this incredible experience on set and then actually having to walk back into your home.
I was doing a thing that I didn't realize until later, where I wouldn't go home right after. I would always go out and have a drink. I would always go out and have a whiskey or a martini or hang out with someone. Sometimes if no one was even around, I would just go up to the bar myself to wind down or whatever it was. But I realize now in hindsight that there are much healthier ways to do that. And I think it's hard. I think it's hard to experience something so profound every evening or every moment and then come back and try to reinstall yourself into the reality of everyday existence. I think that's why so many artists take to drugs or alcohol or other forms of staying high. Because you experience this incredible high, and then you like have to come home and how was your day? I mean, how do I explain what my day was? It was an infinite experience into the cosmos of reality. I mean, how do I talk about that, you know?
Yeah.
So at that time I was escaping. So I was not doing it in a very healthy way. And I seem to have, I think, found.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah, that's so profound because we forget that, and I think not everyone sees that. Like, not everyone knows someone who is that much in the public eye.
Yeah.
And when you think about certain stars who become famous at 12, 13 years old, 15 years old, and they're performing to audiences of like 80,000, 100,000 people at that age, like that's an incredible rush of adrenaline and, you know, the chemical imbalance of that is just insane. And then to go back to normality,
Yes.
it's, and it's the same for you going from set to that. It sounds like one of the toughest things to do. And sometimes it's hard to empathize with for people because they're
Obviously,
like, oh,
'cause
well, you have it all. Like, you know, it's amazing.
you have money. That's the thing.
That's
The number one thing is if you talk about something like this, someone says, did your paycheck not cash this week?
Yeah.
That's the standard answer.
Right.
Which is also understandable. Yeah. I mean, what am I complaining about when obviously all the comforts of my life have been taken care of? So,
but let's dive into that transition because I know we've spoken about that before, and the Kunal that I know and I've met, you know, whenever we've spoken, we have really evolved, deep, meaningful conversations where we're both exploring, and I absolutely love them. But you also told me of a time when, obviously, what you're mentioning now, like alcohol, self-medicating, and that. Tell me about that transformation because I think that that's really important to people because no matter what financial situation people are in, no matter what status people are in, everyone goes through getting addictions, bad habits, and getting lost. Like there's always that option in life and everyone's experienced that. Tell us about that transformation and how you were able to look for that gap and free yourself from that jail that you talk about. Like you talk about finding keys.
yeah.
Tell me about that experience of like releasing yourself from that jail.
Well, first of all, I'm so grateful that it happened because I never would have come home to myself. Because ultimately, what I was doing was just running away from myself. I began to build a facade that I began to believe in. You know, I began to believe a personality into reality that I have to be a certain way. I mean, I was young. I was at grad school. I was on this show. I was making money. And I thought I had to be a certain way. And I'm very lucky that I have a family that supports me and loves me and whom I can talk to. But it got out of hand before I knew it was out of hand. And I began to feel anxiety, which I had never experienced in my life as a child or as a youngster. And I didn't know what it was, but I was feeling slightly uncomfortable. And so when I did, I would drink. Oh, I'm kind of feeling weird. Let me just have a drink, have a great time. And that went on and on and on. And it's not like I ever drank during the day or anything, but I couldn't wait for the evening to come so I could take the edge off. And that one drink turned into 5 or 6. And that anxiety never went away. In fact, the further I tried to push it away, the more it rose. And then I was driving on the highway and I was having panic attacks. And I was be in an elevator in a tall building and I'd be having panic attacks, you know. And it was bad. And I remember going home to India and talking to my parents and saying, something's wrong with me. And yet I was very functionable during the day. No one could tell. Obviously, I was working, and that was the most important thing to me was working, but I was not in a good place, and I was doing things and putting myself in situations which I shouldn't have been doing. But all to run away from myself, and I didn't know that at the time. And I was given a pill to take in case I had another panic attack from someone. And I remember I was feeling panic on the 17th floor of a building, and I'm looking at this pill, and I'm about to put it in my mouth. And a voice comes and says, before you run away from yourself, I want you to experience yourself. Something like this voice came, and I threw it away. And I said, even if I experience my own death in this moment, I just want to experience it. And then from that day on, I said, no more running. Even if I'm feeling anxious, no more running from it. Even if I'm feeling panic, no more running from it. No more running.
And that takes a lot of courage.
I don't think it was courageous. I think my house was on fire and there was nowhere else to go. I don't think of it as courage. I think of it as everything burnt down. I mean, there was no other choice, There was no more running. You see, there was no more running. I had to look within. What is this anxiety about? What is this panic about? What is it that I'm so afraid of? What is it? Why do I feel so separate from everything that is happening here? Why are there 2 or 3 or 4 or 5 or 6 inside? What is this? But it was so beautiful because it was the beginning of the end.
What do companies like Ring and Hint all have in common? They all use NetSuite to accelerate their growth. Here's something I believe is true. If you don't know your numbers, you don't know your business. I've seen many young and growing companies run into trouble when they don't understand and they have multiple systems that don't talk to each other. Successful companies know that in order to grow faster, you must have the right tools. Whether you're doing 1 million, 10 million, or hundreds of millions in revenue, NetSuite by Oracle gives you the tools you need to accelerate your growth. With NetSuite, you get a full picture of your business, finance, inventory, HR, customers, and more. It's everything you need to grow all in one place, right from your phone or computer. My team proudly uses NetSuite by Oracle. NetSuite is the world's #1 cloud business system trusted by more than 19,000 companies. It's the last system you'll ever need. With NetSuite, you save time, money, and unneeded headaches by managing sales, finance, and accounting orders and HR from your desktop or your phone. Schedule your free product tour right now and receive your free guide, 7 key strategies to grow your profits at netsuite.com/J. That's netsuite.com/J. I'm almost sure if you're a part of any fitness community, you've probably heard or seen of a Theragun in action. It's simply one of the tools that once you start using, you never stop because you realize how much better your body is supposed to feel. I'm always either driving, sitting, recording podcasts, working out every morning too. So even though I wouldn't consider myself an athlete, I still get normal muscle tightness and body aches. The Theragun is a professional grade handheld therapy device that provides deep muscle tissue treatment to release tension, accelerate recovery, and enhance performance. What's even more special, at least to me, is that it was created from a genuine need to address bodily health after founder Dr. Jason Wersland suffered severe pain while recovering from a severe motorcycle accident. This wasn't a product created for commercial success, but to help you. After using the Theragun, I seriously recover so much faster from all my workouts, which allows my trainer to push me even harder. I actually look forward to using it, and it has completely changed the way I feel in my day-to-day life. I'm genuinely more present and happier and feel less tension and pain physically. Feel better naturally, treat your pain, and get back to your life. Try Theragun risk-free for 30 days or your money back by going to theragun.com/J. That's THERAGUN.com/J. For a limited time, my listeners to this podcast get a free charging stand with the purchase, a $79 value. That's Theragun.com/J. And so often that's what it is it takes that. I was describing to someone yesterday, it was like, when two people are boxing, there's a lot of dancing, there's a lot of movement, but then when one boxer gets the other boxer in a corner, then that boxer really has to figure out their way. It's like when you're pushed into that corner, now you can't just dance and prance about and run away from it like you're saying. You have to figure out what your strategy is and how you're going to get close to that and figure out that person, because now you're pent up in that corner and you're stuck. And I feel like sometimes life has to, fortunately or unfortunately, some people say unfortunately, I say fortunately, sometimes life just has to put us in a corner where we stop running. And you can't run, like you're saying, you run out of options. Instead of running, you run out of options. And then you have to look within. But I think so many of us struggle to do that because we struggle to know what the first step is to look within.
Yes.
And that's why we run. Sometimes we run not only to get away, but because we don't even know where to start.
Absolutely.
How did you figure out where to start for you personally, or what was it that really helped you in that moment? Because I love what you're saying, by the way.
No, but you're right. I think there's an overwhelming feeling within us that we need to figure it out right away. And because of that, we want 3 steps to give us awakening or enlightenment or whatever it is that people are searching for, But I've been thinking lately that I don't think that awakening or enlightenment or spirituality is for everyone either. Because you have to give up your opinions about the world. You have to give up your ideas of the world. You have to give up your ideas of who you are and how you view the world to truly be free. To truly be free. People want to be more loving and more confident and more positive and more peaceful, yet they're not willing to exchange the one thing that is in the way, which is their idea of themselves. So how do you start, right? How do you start breaking down the idea of yourself? You don't. You just look and say, oh, am I doing this out of just a behavioral pattern that I've been doing for whatever amount of years? Or am I doing this from a place of truth or reality, Is this what is actually happening in this moment? Or is it only happening because of my perception of it? That's really where you start, is to become aware of yourself. And it's actually very simple. But because we then get indoctrined by 10 steps to do this, or 17 steps to do this, or 105 steps to do this, it's the same thing that people are doing. They're just using steps to, again, run away from what it is. Ultimately, if you want to be free, you have to come back and have the conversation with the one that is in the way, and that's here. I am in the way of my own freedom because I believe this one to be who I am. Mm-hmm. And to truly find that one who you are, you have to lift the veil of that and see what's underneath. And that's the hardest thing. Mm. It's not where do I start, it's are you willing to put your opinions about the world and about yourself aside. And that's the thing about awakening and enlightenment and all the things that people want. No one gets to be excluded from your love once you're enlightened. You can't be enlightened and kind of not enlightened, okay? You can't have faith and not kind of have faith. You either have faith or you don't have faith. Mm. You either are in this moment or you're not in this moment. Mm-hmm. And that's the rub. Mm. That's why it is hard for people. Because the reason say, I don't know where to start, I don't know where to look in, this I that's talking is the one that doesn't want to look at itself because it's skirting its own death in a way. Because once it's caught, it's over. That's the thing. Once you actually catch the lie inside, it's over.
Yeah.
But that's where you start. You just start becoming self-aware. Wait, I've always thought it's like this. Oh, wait, it's not like that. Oh, okay, cool. Now I'm free. I'm a little freer now, You begin to wear your personality a little lighter.
Yeah. Dude, that is so well articulated, man. I love that. Oh. Literally everything you just said right now is just so well explained because I think so often these topics can get quite heady, and we've talked about that before. Of course, yeah. But you've really grounded it. And when I'm listening to you, it sounds like when you figure out how a magician does a magic trick.
Yes,
right. Like once you figured it out, it's like it's not. You're like, oh, I get it now. Like it totally makes sense. But when you don't know how it's done, like when you don't know how they picked that exact card that was yours, you're like, whoa. Like, and it's the same with yourself. Like once you figure out the trick. That the mind is playing, or like you said, the perception you've built up of who you are is playing. All of these are just tricks. And when you start to look beneath the tricks, you start seeing actually it's not. You feel free.
But that's why meditation is very important. I don't think that meditation is the only thing that's the important thing in all of this.
Right.
But it is important because it stills your mind. It gives you quiet. When your mind is very noisy, it's very hard to look through the layers. It's very important to, even if you don't meditate, maybe it's just sitting in the car with no music, whatever it is, finding time to be still is very, very important. Because through the stillness, you can see. And in the storm, it's very difficult to see, And you're right. You're already the peace that you're seeking. That's the truth about life. You are already that which you seek. It was St. Francis of Assisi said, right? What you're searching for, what you're looking for is already where you're looking from. You're already home. You just keep running in circles trying to find the home. But the one trying to find the home is the one you have to give up.
Yes.
This is the paradox of life. It's beautiful. And you're right, it is simple. But that's not the end either. Because even after you awaken, there's still a journey. And that's the point of all of this, is stop trying to find the secret elixir of life. Because even when you do find it, you'll realize it's unknown. So just give up and just enjoy. Enjoy the fruits of what it is that you have here.
Yeah.
Because even when you're enjoying, you're still like, I'm enjoying, but I shouldn't be enjoying because I should be working harder. And why work harder? I'm sorry, but just be peaceful.
Yeah.
Why work harder? It's all self-made. Goals are lovely to have, but the more goals you have, when you achieve them, then you want more goals, then you want more goals, and then you want more goals. You're trying to fulfill an ego that will never be filled. Live a simple life. Be peaceful. Be happy. What more? What more? Because all the things you want to achieve because it's going to make you happy. Just be happy now. It's really simple.
I love it. It's awesome. I want to dive into that now with you, because I think simplicity is such an interesting concept. And when I lived as a monk, both our internal and external lives were simple and simplified, I would say. Not even simple, simplified.
Yeah.
You eat what you're given. You don't choose what you eat. You sleep in a different place every day on a mat, but you don't have one place that you sleep. So nothing is yours. You wear the same style of clothing every day. So there's no, all that kind of stuff. But so that simplifies the outer layer. But one thing that I found, and this is what I found profound, and I want to ask you this as well, is as I came back into the real world, we'll use that for now. What I found simplicity, and the definition of simplicity that really brings me alive, is simplicity of intention. Because what I found is that sometimes you can be externally simple, but you're complicated up here. And so some people live very externally simple lives, but really it's all complicated up here. And then the opposite is true, where you're simple mentally, but then your externals are complicated. And so for me, I was really seeking this definition of simplicity that I could live by.
Yeah.
And I was also trying to, and I want to talk to you about this because I know you talk about this kind of never-ending cycle of obsession with what's next, right? Like they're always chasing what's next. And then I was like, but how do you continue to live in this world, be in this world, keep being active? Because we can't all just sit down and do nothing.
I understand.
And you are too. And that's what I want to figure out from you. That's my question, that how are you continuing to pursue any pursuit, whatever it may be, but continuing to connect with that simplicity and that happiness now? How are you monitoring that balance in your own life of being ambitious, being open to new opportunities, but still remaining simple, happy, grounded, present? How are you juggling that? Or how are you thinking through that?
Yeah, that's a good question.
I'm not saying not any of us have mastered it. I'm intrigued.
No, I don't know. I think that you said something interesting about the simplicity of intention. I think that's where it lies. I'm ambitious because I enjoy acting. Someone may be ambitious because they enjoy cars and they want a certain kind of car. Nice. That's a who cares? That's a nice ambition. It is the problem is in actually the words and the language. Ambition is imbued with an emotion. I'm an ambitious person. That person's not so ambitious. My goals are like that. That person's goal is not like that. I want this kind of a life, so it means this kind of a thing for me. Just do what you want to do. If you want to be ambitious, but don't think I have to be ambitious for a certain way of life, or I need to be a certain way. Just be what it is and do what it is that in here feels right. If that means being ambitious, be ambitious. If I don't think of it, I have to balance my life. My life is just the way it is. It's just that I'm not looking at everything and attaching emotion to everything. There's no resistance anymore within me to my life. If I have to do something, I'll do it in whatever manner is necessary for the situation. If I have to, it doesn't mean I'm impervious to anger or anxiety or anything. I'm sometimes happy, sometimes I'm sad. I just have stopped thinking so much about what happens is, because of a perception of the world, something bad happens and an old tape starts playing. And when an old tape starts playing, we get pissed off at that old tape, so we add another tape on top of that. I am pissed off because of the old tape is playing. So now you've got two tapes that are playing, right? Then you read 3,000 books about how to stop that tape to stop that tape. And that's a third tape. So now you have 3 programs running. When in the first place, you could have been said, oh, you know what? Yeah, I'm just having a shitty day and I'm pissed off. Cool. Next. And right there, it's over.
Yeah.
It's the resistance to what is where where all of that comes from.
Yeah. So totally. I completely agree. It's the resistance to not accepting what is happening in that moment.
But
that
even
creates
in the
layer.
acceptance, it can add another tape. I'm not accepting what's happening.
Yeah. So it's the resistance.
Exactly.
Every time you're resisting, avoiding, running away from, not accepting.
Yeah. If you can just be fully here, someone passed away and I'm feeling horribly sad. What's wrong with that? You know, I just made a lot of money. I'm feeling incredibly happy. What's wrong with that? Sometimes you achieve what you want to achieve and there's still a but attached to it. Why? You know, that's the simplicity of intention that you're talking about. You don't have to go to a cave and sit for 10 years to meditate. You know, your bum will start hurting sitting on the rocks. I mean, it's okay. You can sleep in a comfortable bed and just be as peaceful.
It's true.
You can drive a really nice car and enjoy the fruits of your labor. And what's wrong with that? Do you have to say, well, there's a starving child in Sudan or India or even in America or anywhere, so I shouldn't enjoy the fruits of my life? Why not do it all? Why not give back and enjoy? That is the simplicity, is to accept the totality of what you are. You are all. You know, I am... I can have a cup of coffee and have a very profound moment, or I can be dancing on a table till 3 a.m. and have a profound moment also. Why can't I be anything that I want to be? No resistance. No resistance. It's my life. It's my expression of this consciousness. It's my chance to experience this beautiful thing that is here.
And every one of those choices that are made in alignment with that will only reveal more. That's the point. That's
a very good point.
Yeah.
Yes. If you're doing it to run away, it can be very messy. But the beautiful thing about living this life awake is you begin to enjoy those things so much more because they're coming from a place of freedom, not from a place of being trapped. You know, and that's that sticking thing that's in here. It's not like when I achieve this, then I'll be free. No, it'll just be another sticking point. That's not the answer. It's just this thing that's in here that's stuck. You just have to be like, oh, what is this? What is this? And you'll realize, I don't want to say it, I guess. You'll realize whatever it is that you realize for yourself, you know, when you look within. But it starts here. And it doesn't start with reading really helped me. Books really helped me. Really helped me. It really helped me think my way into here. But the final step you have to take yourself.
Any books that you recommend or anything that really worked for you?
There's one coming out in April that I'm dying to read.
I'm excited to share it with you too. I'm excited to share it. There's a lot of what we're talking about that's in there. So
yeah, I started reading like The Secret, The Four Agreements.
Yes,
a lot of those books. I read a lot of Deepak Chopra's 7 Laws of Spiritual Success, which I love.
Yeah, wonderful book.
And that started the sort of psychological journey within, right? And then I read The Untethered Soul by Michael Singer. That was the jumping off point for me because that helped me understand that there is a separation between who I am and my mind. My mind is recycling thoughts and I can sit back and look at them. Oh my God, when I experienced that, I thought this is it. I'm free. Yeah, boy, was I wrong.
Yeah. I remember the first time I read that in the Bhagavad Gita, like, you're not your clothes. We just change our clothes every day and you can change your thoughts every day. And I was like, wow, like, that makes so much sense. Like, I can look at my clothes and I can say, I don't like those clothes.
Yeah.
And I can change them. And I can put on clothes and be like, I like those clothes. And you can do the same with your thoughts every day. Yeah. I like those thoughts. I don't like those thoughts. Let me change those thoughts.
Yeah. Or you can even sit and not listen to any of them.
True.
You only listen to the ones that you're attached to. Because your mind has 3,000 thoughts that you probably don't even pay attention to. But you only pay attention to the ones, like for me, even to this day, because I've had even in my family, genetic fear of heights, so from generations ago.
Wow.
Even to this day, I remember growing up and my father wouldn't take an elevator, and that sort of probably came. Now he's over that, but at that time, that's probably where it came from for me. But even now, when I don't want to go on the 65th floor of a building because my body, the trauma in my body is still fresh and it's still there. Yeah. I may not have resistance to it, but it's not a nice feeling. Okay. I don't sit here and say, I have to climb Mount Everest to be free.
Yeah.
I'm free. It can all exist in here and I'm still free. It's okay. It's okay to have things. You don't have to scrub yourself clean of everything and then become free. You are free once you realize that it's all okay. You can continue to work on it. It's fine. So even to this day, I'll still have like a moment of, now the anxiety is very rare, but anything that comes up, it comes up. I was telling you right before this, I was moving this weekend. And I said, if you ever think you're spiritually realized, you should move.
Yeah, or help a friend move.
You
didn't ask me, I would have helped you move.
Exactly. No. Or spend 1 week with family. That's right. Yeah. Baba Ramdas, who unfortunately just passed away, lovely spiritual teacher, just always said that. He said, every time you think you're enlightened, spend 1 week with your family. Yeah. Which I think is it's so funny and so profound in a way, your biggest, there was a teacher, Muji, who I loved, who was very important for me to experience emptiness for the first time in a meditation. I experienced nothingness and it was very beautiful. But Muji said when he experienced his awakening, it was most profound. All these things happened to him and he sat down to eat. And the first thought that entered his mind is, why are you eating potatoes? You're going to be diabetic. And he just said, I just freed you from my mind. How can that still exist? Yeah. And that's funny because that's the play,
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah. I remember when we were monks, one of the reasons the path that I lived as worked so well is half the day was very much about your growth, self, and going beyond the self. And the other half was with people, with other monks, with villagers, with community. And because we were always told that if you're alone all the time, your ego will convince you that you're humble. It's only when you're around people.
That's interesting, yeah.
Like what you're saying about spending time with family. Like if you're always alone, you'll think you've become really enlightened. But actually, when you then re-interact with people, then you realize where you're really at.
Well, in the ancient yogic tradition, when you did experience realization, you would have to be very carefully taken away and sort of molded and shielded, because it's kind of like when the worm sheds, when the caterpillar sheds the skin and becomes the butterfly, it's very vulnerable for that time. And if you experience awakening and you have no guide map or nothing to hold on to, it can be a very, very unnerving experience.
Yes.
It can be. So you should do it in a way that you have someone who you can talk to, or someone who can help you through it, or a book or a guru or something, because I never really had that, but I had people that I listened to and spoke to, through this process. But I think it's very important. And I think that's where that comes from. That's why people go high away from people, because they want to fully understand what this is and mature into that awakening.
Yes.
Because if you get thrust back into this world full of ego, you shut back right up. It's like you have this beautiful ocean and you're this drop and you drop in. But a big drop drops in and it comes back out a bit and it drops back and it drops back, it goes like this. And then until you finally merge. But in that dropping going away, it can just shut.
Yeah.
Then it's very hard.
That's so true. Yeah, that's a really good point.
But I know a lot of people listening to this probably just want to be like, yeah, I know you're talking about all this, but how do I just be happy? How do I just be peaceful? How do I just I just want to wake up and, and shut my mind off. And I'm just here to tell you can't shut your mind off. It's a beautiful tool to use. You need your mind. It's created this incredible thing in this world, this microphone, this thing. It's all because of people's minds. Some guy and some girl saw the moon and put up a rocket ship and went to it. It's just incredible. Why would you not want to use that? Okay. It's just that it's using you.
Correct.
And you have to figure out how to use it. And that only comes with a little bit of looking at it and training and looking at it and training and takes time. It's like learning the alphabet. You start with the ABCs by being aware, then you start using language, and then you understand sarcasm and how to put sentences together and all that.
Yeah, we forget that. That's a beautiful example. We forget that as kids, how much patience we had, how much non-judgment we had.
Yeah.
Like no one remembers, messing up as a kid on something at home or like falling over and walking again. And you just don't remember it in a negative way. You never looked at yourself and said, I fell over 10 times today.
Yeah.
Like, oh no, like you never
Yeah,
did
yeah.
that to yourself. You just allowed yourself to naturally engage with something and for it to naturally progress.
Yeah.
At least I'm talking about like between 0 to 5.
No, I understand.
Yeah.
I mean, if I was to fall over 10 times right now, it'd be weird.
Yeah.
Be like, I should probably go to the doctor. Yeah.
Yeah. Probably true. But with different challenges now. Yeah.
It is different challenges. It's also, I will say that I think that we drive our own selves crazy about all of this. I think, like I go back to my earlier point, just stop the obsessive search so much. It might be in front of you. It might be right here and you're just looking everywhere else,
Yeah. It's the obsession with perfection, I find.
Well, that you'll never get.
Yeah.
Unless you can. I mean, I think to be honest, you can get perfection, but to get that, you have to be willing to swap yourself out.
And it's almost like to get obsession, you have to get perfection, you almost have to lose the obsession for perfection.
Yes, or the idea of perfection.
And what it looks like to you. Because
What it
that's
looks
the
like, yeah.
attachment.
Yeah, the attachment. Also, it's because you kind of want to push away the ugly parts of you and you want to pull in the beautiful parts of you. But that's just ugly and beautiful is also just kind of a concept. Take those words away for a second. And just take away all concepts and see what's left. It's all of it.
So if we take something, let's pursue that. So if we take something like, say, envy.
Envy.
Let's take envy or anything you like. Let's take one of those things.
Envy is a good start.
Yeah. How do you process that then? How do we look at that? How do we change our view of that? Or what do we do with that as a thought?
If you look at someone else's life and you think, oh, that would be, they live in a nice house and they look like they have a nice family. I want that. What's wrong with that? But if you look at someone else's life and you say, oh, I want that. Oh, why do I want that? Does that make me envious? Oh, I want that because I'm envious. Oh, no, wait, am I envious? I'm not envious. It's just like this entire tape starts playing.
Yeah.
What's wrong? If you see something that you like and you want it, does that make you, what's wrong with wanting that? Now, the rub lies in if you don't have that, does that make you unhappy?
And the other challenge is, which often comes up is, do you want that just because now every time you see someone with something you want more? Because then it's what you're exposed to, right? Or is it that you really want that? Like you really feel that's going to make a difference? Because I think so many people, and I agree with you, I love what you said about the non-judgment of it, because you're right that if you see something and you like it and you think it's important to you, and with that intention you pursue it, there's nothing wrong with that. It's when you either want to take it away from that person, where it becomes malicious, or whether it becomes a never-ending pursuit just because you see shiny things all the time.
Going back to exactly what you just said about the malicious, you want to take it away. I was thinking about this the other day. I think that inherently, it is in human nature to be good. It just is inherent in our nature because we come from nature. I mean, in nature, this is the way we are. We have communities and we build communities and we live together in harmony. And that's why I think it feels so bad when someone is mean to us or when we feel like we want to be mean to someone. Because it feels very unnatural. When someone says something very mean to you, it feels very like, oh, that's not, something within you automatically is like, wait, this is not how it should be. And vice versa, if you're mean to someone,
it never feels good.
It never feels good. But why? Why? Because inherently in our nature, it is to be good. You don't have to work to be good. That's what I keep saying. You don't have to work to be loving. You actually are that. You just have to get rid of the one that is trying to be loving.
Yeah.
You stop. You are loving. It's very easy to be closed off and tough and mean. And it's very hard to be loving. It's very hard to be loving because it takes a lot of courage, because someone who doesn't agree with you, you still have to love them in a way. That's why it's hard to be loving, because like I said earlier, no one gets to be excluded. Everyone wants to be loving. Yeah. Well, if you really want to be loving, turn on the television and watch the news and pick out the one person or two or three people that you find are the most abhorrent people and see if you can love them.
Ooh, love that as a good challenge.
Then you'll know if you've actually become that which it is that you seek. You want to be loving, but you want to be peaceful, but you want to like everyone, but remove this but, and there it is, your peace. That's actually how simple it is. You don't have to run away somewhere. Right now, in this moment, if you remove the but, there you are. You're right there. Everything you wanted. You know.
Yeah. I love that, man. That's beautiful. This is great. This is awesome. See, now you can see what we do when we get together.
Yeah. We also go to basketball games.
Yeah, we do that too.
We like the Lakers. And we're also really fun in real life. Like, we're fun and we hang out, we make jokes. And
yeah, well, Kunal, let's talk a bit about that. We've had a really deep dive. Let's talk a bit about, I want to go back because, you know, it's easy for us and to look at, I'm going back to some material conversation, but because it's linked to you.
No, I love it.
It's spiritual. You know, people can look at you and think that, you know, your career's been this huge success and everything worked out. Tell me about some of the key failures that happened before this big moment in your career where things took off. Because I think it's so easy for everyone to sit back and be like, oh yeah, we found out about Kunal through Big Bang Theory. Life just went, like, tell us about some of the big moments that you remember now when you look back on, you know, like, God, that was a moment where I just, you know, that's the one I remember. And that's what makes this now so much more meaningful.
Yeah, I mean, look, I got my bachelor's in theater and in business. I never got a degree in theater.
Marketing specifically?
Marketing was my degree. And I told my parents I wanted to be an actor. And their advice, which was very sound at the time, said, look, become an actor, but have something to fall back on because it's a very difficult industry. And it is a very difficult industry to make it. And I did that. And then I got my master's in acting. And all through grad school, all through undergrad, you know, this was a very different time in America. I had never got any of the roles I wanted, really. I was always the funny guy or the older guy or the sidekick, you know, and I would sit, we were doing The Seagull, a great play by Chekhov, and I wanted to play the lead role and I didn't get it. And I would sit in the wings in the side of the theater, every performance and mouth his words, you know, and I did it with a lot of plays, and I kept dreaming that this is going to be me one day. This is going to be me one day, and you know, I only had 10 months left on my visa. Otherwise, I'd have to go back to India and work, or England and work, which is fine too. And I auditioned for a play in the basement of the Mac store on Fifth Avenue. Remember that glass box? Because I didn't have a computer. I didn't have the money. And this director was in LA, and she said, you know, they were setting up. I don't even know what it was called at that time. AOL video maybe. Something it was called in the Mac store. They had that thing. And I auditioned for this lady director in LA in the basement of the Mac store. And I got the part on the spot, and I look over. I was like crying in this audition. It's like so funny. 30 Asian tourists are taking pictures of me. No, that was a joke. So they don't have to be Asian. They could be Indian. They could be any. And then I moved to LA for $7 a play, and I didn't have a car.
$7 a play.
It was a non-equity show, and then I was living on a friend's couch, and I was taking the bus. Which, if you live in Los Angeles, it would take me an hour and a half from Santa Monica to Pico, and I was working in a raw food restaurant. Can you believe I didn't even know what raw food was? No offense to anyone at that time.
At that time, it wasn't as trendy then.
Yeah, and I remember because I got the job off Craigslist, and she said, "You know about raw food?" I was like, "Yeah, you use less cooking oil, right?" Or something like dumb like that. And she was like, "No, we use no oil." I was like, "Yeah, less, no. I mean, same." You know, it's like just, and then I ended up working there, and it was a whole comedy of errors. I remember I rented, for my final audition of Big Bang, I had to rent a car to drive to the studio, and I rented the cheapest car, and they didn't have it. So they upgraded me to a Toyota Solaris, if you've ever seen this car, and it was a convertible, white. I mean, I drove onto that a lot. Yeah. Like I was like, I was like P. Diddy or something, you know, and I was playing California, and I was like driving. I was like, it was really fun. And then when I booked the pilot, I bought a car from the auction, a Nissan Altima with a broken light. And I drove up on the first day of Big Bang, and I said, I got to get a new car, you know. So there's so many stories about, but everyone comes from somewhere. Everyone. I've stopped ever looking at anyone who's successful and think they've been given it. Because even if they have been given it, in some way, there's a lot of internal struggle even in that. The feeling that they don't deserve it is worse than struggling, to be honest. Because when you struggle, you have a real righteousness about it. I'm struggling. But when you're handed it, the feeling of inadequacy is horrible.
Wow, man. Thank you for sharing those. I feel like we're going to need a part 2 and 3 just to dive into each of those stories.
In part 2, we talk about the Lakers and how they need another piece to win the championship. They need a 3-and-D guy.
Yeah.
But that's my point is sometimes we get so inundated with this thing about spirituality, but it's just a word.
Yeah.
To be truly spiritual means to actually live a very full life. That in here it's very simple and peaceful, and in here it can be very dynamic.
Yeah.
You can drive a beautiful car and like to travel and like nice clothes and also help the poor and also do service and do it all. Why are we living in such a limited perception of the infinite beings that we are? Why? Why? Because the limited perception can never truly understand what it is to be infinite. So to become infinite, which you already are, you have to take the one that believes in the limited perception and put them aside and finally step into everything that you are.
There he goes, being spiritual again. Went back to it. Yeah, no, and
I was so close.
Yeah, and I experienced that too. I think, when I came back, and hence my book's called Think Like a Monk, because the whole point is like you can think this way, and this is how to change your thinking and everything.
Yes.
But I'm not telling you to live like a monk. Yeah. I'm not telling anyone to.
Or if you
want to,
you could.
Of course.
I mean, that's another thing.
Of course. Yeah.
Why not?
Yeah, why not? Yeah, it's open.
I think that people think, oh, you're spiritual. Why do you live it? Why aren't you in a cave wearing, only cotton made from a worm? I'm like, because that would be very unspiritual of me if I was doing it for a reason to prove a point.
Yeah.
If I wanted to do that, I would.
Yeah. Absolutely.
That is the point. Being spiritual is being who you are.
Yes. Following that intuition.
Yes.
Yeah.
From here.
Yeah. From here. Yeah.
Once you're free,
be
who you are.
Yeah. I've always said that. I felt that when I became a monk. I felt that when I left. I felt that when I started making videos. I felt that when I'm sitting with you today. Like I'm constantly following that. Even when I get the smallest inkling to message someone. And we've done that sometimes. After a meditation, and I message you, and there'll be like an interesting point where like, oh, I was just thinking about you, or I was just talking about you, or whatever it is. And I just follow it at all times, and I've seen it never let you down. It's so fascinating.
Yeah.
When you actually get that inkling, not impulse. I'm not talking about impulse at all.
Everyone has it.
Yeah, everyone has it. Yeah, I'm not special. Yeah.
Everyone has intuition. Yeah. Everyone has instinct. Everyone has. Just stop trying. Stop trying to have it.
Yes.
You already have it.
Yes.
You already have it.
Yeah.
Believe. I mean, you can't kind of believe. I hope if anything after this video is that one thing, you can't kind of believe and kind of not believe. Today, do one thing, just believe. Believe you are incredible, actually. Believe it. Why waste 1 second in a small, narrow perception anymore? You are universally infinite. Believe it. It's right in front of you. You are running everywhere trying to find. You are that. You are already that. You are perfect and loving and peaceful. And you're also crazy and loud and angry. It's okay. It's okay. I was just like, I went nuts this weekend while I was moving on something. And I was like, and then it felt so good too. I was like, oh, there's a tiger in me too. If I need to. Like if there's a tiger in me too.
Yeah, when you can laugh.
There's a Buddha in me too, and there's a tiger in me too.
Yeah, absolutely. I love it, man. So we're gonna end today's interview. I know you've got to rush off as well with the final 5, which is our final 5 rapid fire round. Okay. So you have to answer in 1 word to 1 sentence maximum.
Okay, say that again.
1 word, ideally, but I let people go to 1 sentence. If it's expansive and it's, you want to.
And if I get them right, do I get a gift basket?
No, there's not. This is not Coffee with Karan. There is no. That's what I thought when you said gift basket. There's no gift basket, but we will send you your gift afterwards.
Okay, thank you.
Either way.
Some chapstick would be nice. It's oddly dry in Los Angeles.
Either way. Okay, cool. So the first question is, the last kind thing you've done for a stranger?
I gave a home. Oh no, I can't. Well, just
you can, yeah.
We went and bought some food for a homeless person who was outside Rite Aid the other day.
Great. Okay. Second question. What's something you once took for granted that you value now?
Time.
Nice. Good answer. Question number 3. What's the one question you ask yourself the most?
Is this for real?
Nice. And that can work in so many ways. I love that question. That works in so many ways. Awesome. Okay. Question number 4. What's something about you that most people don't know that would surprise them?
I love dancing. I love being on the dance floor.
And you're a great dancer.
I don't know if I'm a great dancer.
Okay.
I love it. So if you see me out in a nightclub somewhere, don't judge me. I just love dancing.
I love that. All right. And question number 5, the final 5 question is, if you could create a law that the whole world had to follow, what would it be?
If I could create a law.
A law, yeah, an actual law that everyone had to follow, like a law, yeah.
Yeah.
I can't actually make any of this happen. I'm just
I don't know, man. The way you're going, anything is possible. I mean, Oprah and Jay Shetty for president and vice president, that's what I'm thinking. Like, that's going to be great.
I don't think they'll ever allow a Brit to run for president.
But there was one law, seriously, that if we could...
That you could instate that everyone would have to follow, yeah.
You have to love yourself first.
Beautiful. I love it. Kunal, cool. Thank you, man. We have to do part 2.
No.
There is so much we can dive into.
Well, the universe will.
Discuss it. But thank you, man. Thank you so much for coming. I know you've had a busy weekend. I know you're traveling today, and it's a lot of fun. I think we covered a lot of ground.
We should do a podcast of the Lakers game.
Oh, I'd love that. That
you know what I mean?
Yeah.
I don't know how it works for sound.
You'll be able to hook it up.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah. Let me just text LeBron James.
Yeah, courtside. Courtside. It has to be courtside. We have to have the full view.
Yeah.
And we have to have LeBron on the podcast at the same time.
Yeah. Okay, great.
So it has to be 3-way while he's playing.
Great.
I love it. Kunal, thank you so much. Man. You've been an amazing guest on Purpose, and just really grateful for your friendship, man. Honestly, thank you for allowing me into your life. Thank you for helping us build a great friendship, and I'm excited for many more good times together.
And I can't wait for April.
Yeah, thank you, man.
That's the book.
Thank you.
I can't wait. It's going to be great.
Thank you, bro. Appreciate it.